Ever wonder what separates fleeting fortunes from multi-generational dynasties? It's not just about the numbers in a bank account, is it? Believe it or not, 70% of America's enduring family wealth wasn't cemented in high-stakes boardrooms or with savvy stock picks. No, it was quietly, almost imperceptibly, forged right there at the dinner table, long before the kids even knew what a brokerage statement was. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the 10 quiet yet incredibly powerful drills old money parents meticulously slip between the soup and the soufflé. These aren't just polite suggestions. They're foundational life skills designed to ensure their heirs don't just inherit power, but keep it, all without ever looking like they tried too hard. It's a masterclass in subtlety, an education in effortless influence, and it all starts when the forks come out. The first lesson taught at the table is about respect as a silent language. For old money, manners aren't some flimsy accessory you slap on for a fancy occasion. Oh no. They treat them like the fundamental grammar of social interaction. It's the invisible framework that holds everything together. Think about it. A child who, heaven forbid, stabs their perfectly cooked fillet with the wrong fork isn't met with a shout or a dramatic lecture. That's just not their style. Instead, what happens? They simply get no eye contact from dad for the rest of the course. That subtle, almost imperceptible social freeze, that's the real punishment. And let me tell you, it lands a lot harder than any angry outburst ever could. It's a silent, searing lesson in social consequence. By the time these kids hit 10, they can set a 10-piece place setting blindfolded. But here's the kicker. It's not about showing off. It's because the fork, the spoon, the knife, they're the very first vocabulary words in a much larger conversation about respect. It's about understanding order, precision, and the unspoken rules that govern polite society. If you can gracefully navigate a complex table setting, if you can intuitively understand the flow and rhythm of a formal meal, then you can absolutely navigate a boardroom, a negotiation, or a high-stakes social event without ever bulldozing anyone. You learn to move with an understated confidence, an effortless grace that speaks volumes without uttering a single word. It's the art of belonging, of making others comfortable, and of commanding respect simply by embodying it. This isn't just about avoiding embarrassment. It's about projecting an inherent understanding of how the world works and how to move through it with dignity and influence. It's a lesson in silent power, taught one perfectly placed utensil at a time. Now let's talk about the second lesson. Conversation is an art, not a weapon. In these homes, gossip, that's considered the cheapest perfume of speech. It might smell loud and attention-grabbing at first, but trust me, it always lingers sour. It's seen as a sign of intellectual laziness, a waste of precious airtime. Instead, mothers, and fathers too, are masters of the gentle prompt. They'll lean in, perhaps with a twinkle in their eye, and ask something like, "Darling, what was the most interesting thing you read today?" Or, "Which museum should we haunt next weekend? I was thinking about the new Impressionist exhibit." Notice the difference? These aren't interrogations. They're invitations. The rule, you see, is incredibly simple, yet profoundly impactful. Speak to add, not to fill. It's not about avoiding silence at all costs. It's about making sure your contribution carries weight, meaning, or genuine curiosity. And because of this, kids grow up equating silence, not with awkwardness or embarrassment, but with preparation. Silence becomes a space for thought, for careful consideration, for formulating a truly valuable contribution. By the time they hit college, they're not just capable of holding a half-hour conversation, they can do it without interrogating their conversation partner, and crucially, without oversharing every detail of their lives. This isn't just the social nicety, it's a strategic advantage. It's an edge that wins internships faster than any bullet point on a resume, builds trust in professional circles, and allows them to navigate complex social landscapes with an air of thoughtful discretion. They learn the power of asking insightful questions, the art of active listening, and the wisdom of choosing their words carefully. It's about cultivating a presence that is both engaging and discerning, ensuring that when they do speak, everyone listens. Their third guiding principle is achieving discipline through repetition. You might think discipline in these homes comes with stern lectures or raised voices, right? But you'd be wrong. Correction, true old money correction, never arrives as shouting. It's a calm, almost surgical sentence, delivered with an unwavering gaze. We wait for the hostess to lift her knife before we touch ours. Or, remember dear, elbows off the table always. Night after night, the same tiny calibration, the same gentle yet firm reminder. There's no anger, no frustration, just the quiet insistence of a standard being upheld. Neuroscience, in its fancy way, calls this spaced repetition. Old money? They just call it Tuesday dinner. It's the consistent, gentle reinforcement of core principles, day in and day out, that truly shapes behavior. This isn't about breaking a child's spirit. It's about forging a prefrontal cortex wiring that defaults to patience, to self-control, and to a deep sense of order. When markets inevitably roil, when trusts need rebalancing, or when complex family dynamics emerge, these individuals don't panic. Their ingrained discipline kicks in. They've been wired for calm, for considered action, for the long game. Self-control isn't just a nice-to-have. It's the family's true compound interest, paying dividends in every aspect of their lives. It's the invisible hand guiding their decisions, ensuring stability and long-term prosperity. This constant, gentle shaping builds an internal compass that always points towards prudence and composure, no matter the external storm. That self-control extends to information, which brings us to the fourth lesson: establishing boundaries in the age of oversharing. In a world where everyone seems to be broadcasting their entire lives online, ask a teenager from generational wealth, how much do your parents make? And what do you get? A polite smile, perhaps a slight tilt of the head that basically says, nice try, but you're not getting anything out of me. Personal questions, especially intrusive ones, are deflected not with rudeness, but with an elegant counter-question. Why do you ask? Or, that's an interesting question. What makes you curious about that? This isn't about being secretive. It's about a profound understanding that privacy is not secrecy. It is, in fact, the undeniable right to disclose information on your own terms when and if you choose to do so. This tactic, learned at the dinner table from a young age, teaches children to guard their personal and financial information with a quiet, unwavering resolve. It ensures that the hedge fund heir who mastered this subtle art at 12 isn't going to end up leaking insider info on Instagram at 22. They understand the value of discretion, the power of a carefully curated public persona, and the long-term consequences of uncontrolled sharing. It's a vital lesson in self-preservation and strategic communication, crucial for maintaining both personal integrity and professional advantage in a world that constantly demands more and more of you. They learn that true power often lies in what you don't say and in maintaining control over your own narrative. This leads to a fundamental shift in perspective and our fifth lesson: thinking in centuries, not quarters. You know, every dinner in these households often starts with a story, but these aren't just any stories. They're narratives that typically begin at least 100 years ago. You might hear about the great-grandfather who, against all odds, rebuilt the family fortune after losing everything in the panic of 1907, or the great-aunt who, with remarkable foresight, bought railroad bonds during the depths of the Depression, securing the family's future for decades. These aren't just bedtime tales, they're foundational texts. The message, often subliminal but incredibly potent, is this: you, as an individual, are temporary. The family line, the legacy, the institution, that continues. You are merely a steward, a temporary guardian of something much larger and more enduring than yourself. This long lens perspective absolutely obliterates any notion of YOLO spending. Why? Because when you're constantly picturing unborn great-grandchildren, when you're thinking about the next 5 generations, you don't just build portfolios that survive the next news cycle. You build portfolios and, indeed, entire family structures that are designed to survive wars, economic collapses, and profound social shifts. It's a mindset that prioritizes endurance over immediate gratification, legacy over fleeting trends. You learn to plant trees whose shade you may never sit under, to invest in principles that transcend your own lifetime. It's about understanding your place in a much grander narrative, fostering a profound sense of responsibility to those who came before you and those who will come after you. It's the ultimate lesson in patient, strategic foresight. The 6th lesson is a real litmus test for true class, extending grace toward those who serve. At these dinner tables, waiters are always called by name. Tips? They're pre-calculated, often generously at 25% or more, and handled with quiet efficiency. And under absolutely no circumstances does anyone ever stack their plates to help. Why? Because the underlying lesson here is profound. Dignity is non-negotiable. Not just your dignity, but the dignity of everyone around you, especially those in service. Kids absorb this lesson deep into their bones. Status might be fluid, it might come and go, but true class? That's constant, an unwavering internal compass. Later in life, when these children grow up to manage thousands of employees, they don't forget the server's name. They remember the nuances of earnings volatility, the importance of fair treatment, and the human element behind every transaction. These aren't just soft skills, they are absolutely critical competencies that prevent labor strikes, mitigate social media fires, and foster genuine loyalty. It's about understanding that every person, regardless of their role, deserves respect and consideration. It's a powerful lesson in empathy, in leadership by example, and in recognizing the inherent worth of every individual. They learned that the way you treat those who can do nothing for you is the truest measure of your character. Lesson number 7 is about using pacing as a form of mindfulness. Think about your typical family meal. Now, imagine one where the courses arrive slowly, deliberately, where phones are not just put away, but actually left in a designated hallway drawer, completely out of sight and out of mind. This isn't just about good manners. It's a meticulously engineered experience. The entire meal is designed so that the final bite of dessert lands within 90 seconds for every single guest at the table. That synchronicity, that shared rhythm, it's not accidental. This precise pacing trains the nervous system to mirror others, to synchronize with the group. It's a powerful, subtle psychological mirror neuron exercise, fostering a deep sense of connection and shared experience. In adulthood, that exact same pacing shows up in critical life skills. It manifests as the ability to patiently wait for the right valuation in an investment, rather than panic selling every dip. It's the capacity to hold steady during a tough negotiation, understanding that the unhurried approach often yields the best results. It's about cultivating an internal calm, a measured response to external pressures, and a deep appreciation for the unfolding moment. This lesson teaches that rushing rarely leads to good outcomes, and that true mastery often comes from a deliberate, mindful approach to every aspect of life. It's a profound lesson in patience, presence, and strategic timing, all learned one perfectly timed course at a time. Just as there is a proper pace, there are also proper topics. The 8th lesson is about navigating conversational safe zones and danger zones. All right, picture this. At the old money dinner table, there are 5 absolute no-fly zones. These are topics you just don't bring up, ever. Money, politics, religion, health, and, believe it or not, boarding school scores. Violate them and you'll find yourself iced out of the conversation faster than you can say dividend. It's not about censorship.
It's about understanding what fosters genuine connection versus what invites unnecessary friction.
Instead of these conversational minefields, the conversation is expertly steered towards open-ended prompts designed to foster curiosity and genuine engagement. What's the most interesting failure you've witnessed this year, and what did you learn from it? Or what book has truly challenged your thinking lately? These questions shift the focus from divisive opinions to shared learning, from personal attacks to intellectual exploration. The kids, from a very young age, practice reframing potential controversy into productive curiosity. It's a talent that later, when they're navigating complex business deals or facing hostile reporters, allows them to skillfully turn potential adversaries into allies. They learn to navigate delicate social situations with grace, to find common ground, and to build bridges rather than walls. This isn't just about avoiding arguments, it's about mastering the art of diplomacy and intelligent discourse, essential for leadership and influence in any arena. Next up, we have Lesson 9, which treats dress as a sign of reverence. Here's a small, telling detail. A 15-year-old boy from an old money family shows up to dinner in a pressed Oxford shirt, perfectly tailored khakis, and polished loafers, even if the venue is just pizza night at home. This isn't about being stuffy or overly formal, it's about a deeply ingrained rationale. Clothing, you see, is the tax you pay for the respect you'll withdraw later. It's a quiet declaration of intent, a signal that you understand the importance of presentation, not just for others, but for yourself. The unspoken rule? Sloppy dress equals sloppy thinking. It's a causal link, a mental shortcut that these families understand implicitly. This habit, this constant attention to detail in their attire, hard codes an incredible level of precision into their minds. It's why these individuals will spot a misaligned decimal point in a 400-page prospectus when others gloss over it. Why? Because they once noticed a crooked Windsor knot at 14 or a scuff on a shoe at 10. They understand that attention to the small things reflects a commitment to excellence in the large things. It's about respecting the occasion, respecting the company, and respecting yourself enough to present your best. This isn't vanity, it's a fundamental part of their discipline, a visual cue of their internal order and meticulousness. Finally, the 10th and perhaps most profound lesson is prioritizing connection over consumption. When the phones are away, the candles are lit, and conversation is explicitly prioritized, something truly magical happens around the old money dinner table. By the time the coffee is served, there's a ritual. Each person has shared one vulnerability, maybe a failed test at school, perhaps a lost deal at work, or a personal struggle they're navigating. It's a moment of genuine, unvarnished honesty. This ritual, this consistent practice of sharing authentic emotions and experiences, wires the brain to associate family gatherings not with performance reviews or superficial pleasantries, but with profound emotional safety. This security, this deep-seated knowledge that there's always a literal table to come home to where you are seen, heard, and accepted, becomes the psychological bedrock. It's what allows them to take incredibly calculated risks in business, to innovate fearlessly, and to pursue ambitious goals, knowing that even if they falter, there's an unbreakable foundation of support. It fosters resilience, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding that true wealth isn't just financial. It's the richness of genuine human connection. It's the ultimate lesson in the power of vulnerability and the enduring strength of familial bonds. All right, let's pause here for a moment. As we've explored these 10 lessons, which of these rules did you grow up with? And which one feels like a completely foreign language, a secret code you wish you'd been taught?
Drop the number in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what resonates most with you.
All of this reveals the hidden curriculum. Here's the most liberating part about all of this. Notice how none of these lessons, not a single one, requires trust funds, private jets, or even a yacht. They require one thing and one thing only: consistency. That's it. Middle-class families, working-class families, any family who consciously adopts just 3 of these drills, who implements them with unwavering regularity, will raise children who possess that unmistakable old money poise, but with a crucial added ingredient: new money drive. The genius of this approach is that the dinner table scales. It doesn't matter if it's takeout pizza on paper plates or a meticulously prepared venison dinner served on inherited Meissen china. The principles, the underlying values, they travel light. They're adaptable, transportable, and universally applicable. It's about establishing rituals, creating a consistent environment of learning and connection, and instilling values that transcend economic status. These aren't exclusive secrets. They are timeless truths about human development and social intelligence. It's the hidden curriculum, available to anyone willing to invest the time and consistency. It's about understanding that true legacy isn't bought, it's built, one deliberate dinner at a time. So what's the ultimate payoff for this quiet, consistent education? By adulthood, the heir, whether by birthright or by diligent adoption of these principles, doesn't just own assets. Oh no, they own something far more valuable: optionality. They can walk into any room, whether it's a high-stakes negotiation, a philanthropic gala, or a casual networking event, and within 5 minutes, they can read the power map. They understand the unspoken hierarchies, the subtle cues, the true dynamics at play. And just as effortlessly, they can exit that room without leaving a single digital fingerprint, without oversharing, without creating any unnecessary noise. That combination, unwavering discipline coupled with strategic invisibility, that's what keeps fortunes intact long after the flashy, attention-seeking entrepreneurs flame out. Journalists, looking for a simple narrative, often call it luck. But genealogists, those who study family lines and enduring legacies, they know better. They call it curriculum. It's the result of decades of intentional, subtle teaching, of building character and competence through consistent, everyday practices. It's about creating individuals who are not just wealthy, but wise, not just powerful, but discreet, not just successful, but truly enduring. It's the ultimate legacy, passed down not through a will, but through the quiet lessons of the dinner table. If you want a cheat sheet of these 10 rules to stick on your fridge, a constant reminder of these powerful principles, then hit that subscribe button and drop a polite "thank you" in the comments below. Trust me, my inner etiquette teacher will absolutely smile. And please, share this with just one friend who thinks wealth is built only on spreadsheets. Let's help them see the deeper, more human truth. Ultimately, old money isn't a bank balance. It's not just a collection of assets. It's an intricate, beautiful tapestry woven from a series of micro-decisions, repeated nightly, consistently, until they feel utterly inevitable. Manners, pacing, boundaries, gratitude. These aren't just side dishes to be occasionally sampled. No, these are the main course. They're the essential nutrients for a well-lived, well-managed life. Serve them daily with intention and consistency, and you give your children the only inheritance that can't be taxed away, the only legacy that truly endures, the reflex to act, to speak, and to invest with quiet confidence, with effortless grace, and with profound wisdom, long after you've left the table.